All right, so this is an instructional video about how to exercise Miss Spice. So she's had a long recovery from fly strike, about 2 months, and she's now able to move her front legs and back legs. And you see like she's moving her legs here, and she's trying to get up right now, and she has balance issues. So what I'm doing is working her through some exercises to help her not only strengthen her back and front legs, but also to help her regain her balance. And she has a little bit of head tilt. If you notice, she's got her head twisted this way. So I'm going to do some massage and some exercises there. So first thing in the morning and then midday and evening, we should go through these exercises with her. And she's pretty motivated right now. I usually do it after she's eaten her greens. So you see she's moving her legs. And so we'll start by just warming her up. And this is really important when she's been laying, like for instance, asleep for a while. So you see she's moving her legs, and what I'll do is just kind of let her push against there and get her up here. And then just give her some vigorous, like spinal rubs up and down. Get her shoulders, massage her shoulders, and just work all the way down. Just get the blood moving. You see she's really responding to this. So what we want out of this is for her to react and start moving on her own. So we'll do some exercises we're kind of moving for her, but if you notice she's, like if she's really reacting, especially if we play with her ears a little bit like that, and she'll start to try to wash her face a little bit. Let's see if I can get her to do that. Let's see, there we go. So see how she's licking her paws and washing her face right there. We want her to go through that exercise, and she's moving her back legs. It's kind of just tickling her ears and just rubbing them very gently but also vigorously, because we want this to be a high energy exercise. She's past the point of needing low impact stuff. Just running my fingers up and down her spine. There's a really nice spot right here where her leg meets her belly, and if you just kind of pinch inside there, just really gently. I'm not pinching her, but I'm just kind of squeezing like this and palpating that area. She's moving her legs around like that. And so this is her warm-up. She's getting warmed up for her exercises, and we want to just get as much movement as possible. And then you see her front legs are involved. As soon as I start rubbing, she's washing her face there again. Okay, so now she's all warmed up. Make sure we get the spine here and kind of rub along her butt. So her first goal, her first milestone, is to see if we can get her to sit up by herself. So that involves getting her, helping her get her feet underneath her, and she's really liking this position. She just started doing this a few days ago, where if you notice she's kind of flicking her feet out. And in this position, she's got, I would call it like a Superman position. So she's got her feet underneath her, try to keep them as straight as possible. She's got a little bit of a body twist because of the head tilt, but we'll kind of push her this way, get her nice and straight. And then we won't worry too much about the head tilt, but as we're doing this, we'll go through and just rotate her neck. So I'm rotating her neck this way. So it's not really like rotating it this way, where her shoulders go with it, but pushing slightly on her shoulder and just getting her neck to rotate kind of around this axis right here. So you see she's really responding to this. She does a lot of tooth clicking. This is a lot of relief for her because she's had her head in the same position for almost 2 months now. And then right here is really stiff, so we'll go through and get this just kind of rubbing along that really stiff area, and then sticking a finger in the stiff area and just kind of rolling her head around like that, pushing on her shoulder, and just pulling in on this muscle here. So I'm just kind of curling my finger in here and getting her to kind of feel more comfortable with straightening her head, and then I'll just hold it for a little bit. And she used to not be able to hold this for very long. She just tooth clicked, which means she's really enjoying this stretch. But if you notice on this side, I'm not pressing on her eye. She's had some damage to that eye, which is now recently healed, but she does squint it much more than the other side because the fly strike essentially damaged this portion of her brain. But just pushing her this way, using her jaw there, and then doing a little hold. And there we go. And you'll feel her just kind of relax into it. Now when she pushes back, you want to not let it go right away, but it means she's in pain and she can't hold it for much longer, but just give it like a half second, there we go, where she pushes back. And what that does is it gives her some strength on her neck, and you'll see why as we sit her up that her neck is very weak. And we want to give her some chance to strengthen those neck muscles. So again, I'm just rotating this way. When she wants to go sideways. She doesn't like doing these exercises all that much, but that's pretty typical with anyone that lays in a certain position. They get comfortable in that position, and then they don't want to move or change. And physical therapy is often the most painful part of recovery because you're breaking up scar tissue and things. But there we go. So we'll just hold it. See, she's flinching a little bit less, and there we go. So we let it go. All right, and then we do our flip flops. So I want to make sure her feet are kind of underneath her here, and then, oh, there she did a nice flick. You're getting so much stronger, Miss Spice, yeah. And then we just rock her gently from side to side. And the goal here is, maybe lift her up a little bit, is to get her to move her feet, her back feet, to try to get that position going. So see, I'm doing a little flip-flop from side to side. There we go. And then what we'll do is, as she's going through this, we'll slowly move her up into this position here, and this is what I call the prairie dog position. So when I'm lifting her up like that, I'm lifting her up from her shoulders, never from her neck, always from underneath these, like her armpits basically, and then holding here like around her waist, or I'll stick one finger between her legs like this and lift her up that way. So now we'll do some leg strengthening exercises and some more flip-flops. So I'm just pushing her up and down, letting her get used to it. And I can even stick a finger like underneath her chin here to make sure her head's supported, and just get her used to this motion, and then let her sit into it. And see, now she's moving her leg, getting some stimulation there, pushing her up and down. There we go. So now she's repositioned herself. That's really what we want, is just her to try to learn her balance again. So I'll rock her from side to side here and put her up in prairie dog position. Again, I'm lifting underneath her shoulders, just lifting up here, giving her a chance to feel what it's like to jump off the ground and hop, and holding underneath her shoulders with my finger. And then we'll do some stretches. So from this section, or this position, we'll pull her head back like that, and you know, she wants to pull out of that position, so we want to play that edge there. Just kind of let her go back. There we go. It's a good stretch, and she'll stop you. Again, we want to not let her stop immediately, but just, there we go. See, and then hold on to it just for a quarter second, and that'll give her a little bit of strength. What I'm doing now is I'm letting her struggle a little bit. I have my finger underneath her armpit. I'm not pressing or anything, but she wants to get out of this position, and that's really good. You see, she's moving her legs, and she's trying to get out of my very loose grip, which is just this right here, and I'm just putting one finger under her chin. And you want her to do this like isometric exercise where we just very gently pull back, and then she'll push against my thumb like there, and I just give her a second. So we don't want to do that too much because it does tire her out quite a bit. And then once she's in this position, then we move to the sitting position. So I know you're being very affectionate. I know you really like this. So the sitting position is what I would sit like an Egyptian cat when you see those cat statues. And we want to get her feet a little bit far apart. And she's repositioning herself already here. I have just supporting her chest. This isn't her neck or her trachea that I'm supporting, but I'm supporting her chest and lifting up on her chin. And then very slowly letting go of the back part, and then rotating. I'll do this from the front. Rotating her head with my fingers this way. And so I'm kind of pressing on her shoulder with this finger, pressing on her chin here. And then if you notice, now she's locking her elbows out. And then we want to let her sit in this position. And she focuses on this. She stopped licking me, which is her sign that she's actually focusing on this. And she'll sit in this position. It feels very comfortable for her to finally be in that position. You notice her foot's a little bit off center, so I'll give her a chance to balance here. There we go. And we want to have her elbows locked. And then from this position, we see if we can get her to hold it. just like that. Oh, no, and don't let her fall down. She always wants to go down because that's the comfortable position that she's been in before. But we position her legs for her again, and there we go. Okay, I know, I know it's scary, I know. There we go. And this is about the best she can do right now. It's a very difficult position for her to hold because her neck muscles are so weak. But I'm just gonna see if I can get her to balance, pushing her arms out for her. And then she does pretty well here. That's the best she can do for right now. And then I'm just gonna not let her fall over. There we go. And eventually she'll get better at this, but she just needs to practice it more and more. And she'll try to lick and stuff. And as long as she's not going off balance, you can let her lick. And let her just make sure she doesn't fall, but there we go. So that's the best she can do now, and she'll improve over time with this because this is all very weak here. She had a cuterebra right here, and it really burrowed into her neck muscles and did some damage there, but she's rebuilding it. And we let her sit in this, and as long as she can, she'll eventually come out of it by herself. But I'm going to cut this a little short just for the sake of the video. Oh, there we go. So no, okay, she rolled over by herself. I mean, she's tired and she's done with that, so we give her some reward. Little neck massage, just going through the stiff areas here and rotating her neck a little bit like that. She's got a little pillow here too. We can put that underneath, and she enjoys laying on that. So the next thing to do is do her her walking exercises, and then we'll do some reflex exercises. And I think that's about all she can handle for a single session now. Again, I'm just kind of rubbing on the top of her shoulder. You'll feel some congestion here, and just lightly going across here. You can do it somewhat hard. I mean, she's got a pretty stiff neck here, but I'm essentially just letting her decide how far to go. And then when I know her edge, then I'll hold her here for a second. And again, I'm just rotating this way because that's her main issue, is the head tilt. And this doesn't really aim to fix the head tilt. That's going to get fixed as she has less inflammation in her brain and less congestion in her head. But I'm just giving her some relief from that position that she's in all the time and pushing in on her shoulder. There we go. Just hold it. Good job, little buddy. Yeah, good job. Yeah, and that provides a lot of relief for her. Okay, so let's get into the walking position now. So her walking is going to start from sitting position. So see, she's actually doing pretty good in this position. This was a difficult one for her to hold before. But see, she's got this helps her balance. So if you can move to this position every once in a while and just let her rest if she seems like she's breathing hard. If you notice her whole body's moving, all these exercises are very strenuous for her. Just make sure you give her some pets to make her understand that I'm not doing all aggressive movements. I'm doing some very gentle movements and make her feel reassured that I'm not here to beat her up or anything. I'm just here to help her move through her range of motion. Okay, so this is kind of a difficult position to go through. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting her head up. She just tooth clicked right now, so she really enjoys having her head up in this position. You notice her feet are underneath her, so nice and straight, not on the side of her hips, but nice and straight. And then I'm going to take one finger underneath her chest, making sure to lift her up by her chest, not by her neck or by her head, and doing one finger here. So what I have is this, that I'm going underneath her with that, and then kind of cradling her neck with my thumb and cradling her butt here, and then lifting her into this position, just like that. And then from here, I'm letting her rest her head on the inner side of my hand. Again, with one finger, I'm going to lift up her butt. And this is the kind of the tricky part, is you have to lean her forward as if she's going to fall on her face. And you have to get out of the way of her legs at the same time. So you notice my middle finger so I'm doing this underneath her right here to get it out of the way of the range of motion of her legs, and then one finger under here. And you can just stick a thumb underneath her chin to kind of help her look up. So I want to get her in as straight of a position as possible, but what I'm going to do is lift her up until she's on her tippy toes, just like this, putting all the pressure on her chest, not her neck, and all the pressure right on her groin underneath her tail. And then I'm going to lean her forward like this. Okay? And then you notice she did a full motion. She's done this a few times, but I'm going to lift up with her butt, hold the front, and then she's going to step forward and do a little hop. And we walk her forward like that and let her, you can tell she's getting tired, but let her do the motion. But you do give her space. That's why I'm lifting her up a little bit. Give her space to be able to do it. And see, she's getting herself in that position where she's going to walk forward with her legs first as I push forward, and then she's going to follow up as I keep pushing forward. She's going to follow up with a hop. There we go. Okay. She's kind of weak right now. She's feeling a little bit tired. It's the end of the day. And there we go. And this leg is going to be a little bit lazier than the other one. And then I do it the other opposite direction. So let her rest for a minute. Give her a pillow to rest on. Let her know she's doing good. Let her give you some kisses so she knows she's okay. And then I'm going to go through and just go on her spine, just get all that moving. So this is one thing that you can also do when she's laying on her side is she has very strong reflexes with her legs, which is much different than she was a few weeks ago. And we want to get that motion there. We want to get her moving her legs. So it's okay to pull and kind of massage her legs. You can do both at the same time, and she'll do these kicks. What I'll do is pull her out like this and then let her kick for a little bit. Like don't let go right away. And she's getting a little tired, but get your head on the pillow. She's getting a little tired, but we want to make sure that she's actually pulling against here. So, and doing a little range of motion, this will help her go stronger. So up and down, do it a few times, and then give her a nice, like that, and she'll pull her legs out of my fingers. And again, that's all we really want to see is we want her moving as much as possible, and that means agitating her in some ways, and going on her chest here, and going all the way down, and even kind of pulling gently this way. All right, so let's get her walking the other way now. So again, we're going to start her from this position. One finger underneath the chest, one finger underneath her butt. And she went in that sitting position pretty well now. Now that she's warmed up, if you notice, she pulled herself right into that. And we can even let her practice this just by gently cradling underneath her jaw, right there. And then now she's licking, she's got her elbows locked, she's got her feet nice and straight underneath her. And this is an improvement from the beginning of the session now. She's all warmed up, and then we gently kind of hold on to this, just very light touch. And the goal here is to get her to do this on her own. But she'll throw herself off balance, but with her head tilt. But if we can get her to stop licking for a second, and then she's going to want to dive on her shoulder, and just don't let her do that. So I'm just very gently kind of rotating her until she gets into a position where she's comfortable and can hold it by herself. So you see how she's trying to dive on her shoulder? There we go. So we don't want to let her do that. We prop up on her front legs, and that's just her comfortable position. We don't want to let her do that just yet. She does that all day. Okay, so anyway, she's in her sitting position, cradling underneath here, one finger under the chest, right here. All the weight's going on this finger, this middle finger, and the middle finger of this hand. Yeah, you're doing good, Miss Spice. You're doing really good. And again, lifting her up so she's on her tiptoes, putting that pressure here, letting it all rest here. Maybe lifting her head up for it. And she's going to lean forward and see how she's taking her walks. And then she's kind of tired right now, but I need to get out of the way of her feet. But you notice she's not doing her back. Oh, there we go. Now she's doing her back legs. She's just really tired right now, and I'll do one more. We don't want to do this too much, but the goal would be to get her to do 5 or 6 steps in a row. So I'm tilting her forward like that. Okay, and then let's do one last exercise, which is going to be on the table. So we'll let her rest just for a second. A good resting position for her is not necessarily on the pillow, but taking the pillow and making sure it's wide open here, so there's no more slack in there. Sliding it over her head, making sure not to get this caught in her eye, and then pulling her ears through, and then pulling that so she can lay on this side. And she's very content here. She's licking, and She can stay here for about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll do this at the end of the session too, but she can't eat or get water or anything when she's in this position, but she does enjoy it quite a bit. If you notice, she's tooth clicking. That's a happy bunny movement. So that tooth clicking means that she's, there we go. See, she's licking, tooth clicking. She's really enjoying just kind of that relief of the stress off of her neck. And giving her some stimulation here. Again, we might want to go inside the leg, but since she's tired, she's stretching out. All right, so let's move to the table. And that'll be the last movement for her. So we'll take this off. When you take it off, you want to make sure you're pushing your ears through first, otherwise it'll get caught. So you take her ears and tuck them under and get them underneath first before you actually move the donut on. Otherwise, it'll put too much stress on her neck. Yeah, you're doing good. You happy bunny? Yes, you are. Yeah, you're a happy bunny. You know you're going to be hopping pretty soon. Okay. All right, so let's move over to the table. So this is the similar position to what I had before. You notice all her weight is on her butt, and then I have it in the chest here. We're going to do both front and back legs. So the idea is that we want to get her in this position, but we start with her legs down, and we brush her feet against the table like this. And we don't want to do it for her, so we kind of do it slowly enough so that she'll eventually get her feet to pop over. And we know she's doing it properly when she spreads her toes out. And sometimes it takes a few tries. We'll see if we can get it to happen in this session. She's probably a little tired and worn out from this, but her reflexes should kick in pretty soon. There we go, see? So now we got the toe spread. That's what we're looking for. And we got it again. So that's building up the relationship between her feet and her brain. There we go. That was a really good one. And we're just brushing her toes to get her to spread her toes out like that. And probably 10 times, I would say. If you can get 10 good ones out of her, that's fantastic. And she'll go through a phase where she doesn't do it for a few tries, and then she'll come back. There, that was a really good one. And then let her rest her feet as she pops them open. So we'll do it nice and slow. There we go. She's got her toes spread, and that's what we're looking for. She actually spread her toes. There we go, right there. See? All right, and that's really helping her build up her relationship with her back legs. Her front legs do the same thing. You want her to get her to stand here, but it's a little bit difficult. You don't want to be in the way of her range of motion here, so you kind of have to hold her by her chest. I would even support her this way, and then get her front legs to stand that way. And she'll eventually pop them up on her own if you do it slowly enough. She's not really doing it right now, but maybe 10 tries. There we go. And the same thing, you want to see a toe spread. And that's how we know that she's actively working on the exercise. But right now she's a little bit tired. But it's okay. She still gets some benefit from just going through the exercises here. And we'll do like 3 more. And we want to get her to stand on her front feet. She'll pop them up and then try to stand. But yeah, I know you're getting tired. I know. It'll be rest time really soon. Okay, so the last section would be kind of this ice skating maneuver. So giving her full support here, you just want to gently drop her down a little bit so that she starts struggling with keeping upright. And there we go. Okay. And it looks really funny, and it kind of feels like she's never going to be able to stand on her own, but she does stand on slippery floors pretty well. There we go. That's what we want to see. So just letting her skate on the slippery floor. Linoleum floor works really well. This is a slippery table. And she'll try to there we go, that's it. And this is just exercise. It's nothing really with her balance or anything, but we just want her to move her legs on her own and prevent the muscle atrophy, because that's her biggest danger right now, is that she's going to atrophy her muscles to the point where she won't be able to walk anymore, even if she does regain her balance and control. So there we go. So I'm kind of dropping her down. You know, she's kind of spreading her feet out and trying to regain her balance. We'll do this for just a couple minutes until she gets really tired. She'll stop doing it. And the idea is we want to get the maximum benefit out of this exercise. So we're going to do it until she just can't do it anymore. And then that's how we get the muscles to strengthen. There we go. And I'm just dropping her into my hand right here. So most of her weight is on her chest, and then I'm supporting her butt like that. and just dropping down, and her reflexes will kick in and she'll try to move around. Okay, there we go. There we go, that's it. We may just hold her there for a second and try to get her feet underneath it. And that's pretty much the exercises. So it takes about 10 minutes, maybe 3 times a day. And with these exercises, she's most likely going to be able to walk again because she's building up the strength and balance and coordination, and she's having to rebuild these pathways in her brain. The cuterebra, or the fly strike, went through her brain and did some damage to this cortex right here, which is why she's a little weaker on her left side. But she went from having absolutely no reflexes whatsoever to being able to do, basically kind of roll and sit up and flick her feet out and everything like that. So it's her brain is actually rewiring itself. So, all right, let's do a sit, and then we'll put her in a resting position. Can you do a sit? Yeah, do a sit. Let's do one more sit. One more sit. There we go. There. Can you do that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's take her over to a resting position. So whenever I'm carrying her, I'm making sure that her head's supported. Her head tilt keeps her head going this way. So if I was going to carry her here, her head's going to go down, and I just want to make sure that I'm lifting her head up and holding her underneath here. So full body support. We don't want any parts flopping. And let's give her a rest. So here's her partner. Her partner likes to come over and see how she's doing. So we'll put her in this position, and sometimes they groom each other, sometimes not. We'll see how she's doing today. Sometimes she likes to give him kisses on the head. Are you doing okay, Mr. Pumpkins? Yeah? You want to see if Miss Spices? No, she's not giving any kisses. So her resting position, which should be about 15 minutes at the end of any session, is just putting her donut on. We want to just get it so it doesn't come off. So we're not tightening to the point where she can't breathe. So we need to be able to get 2 fingers in there. So just about like right there. And that way it won't slip off and she gets the best benefit from it, maybe a little bit more. And I'm just checking right here to make sure I can still fit 2 fingers and that it's actually a loose fit and it's not in any way choking her. So I can move 2 fingers in and out right here. So that's what we want. She's sitting up on her own right now, if you notice. Let's see if I can get her to balance. There we go. And just let her, she kicked out. So see if you can get her to stay in this position for a little bit, as long as possible. And that's completely centered, right? So not on her hips or anything like that. And you see at the end now during her session, she's kind of learned to balance a little bit better, and she's got her feet warmed up, and she's actually pushing against there. And I'm just going to help her keep her balance for a few minutes. There we go. So then eventually she'll fall over. Just see how long you can get it to work. And what I want to do is make sure that I'm going against the head tilt. So her head tilt is going this way. So I want to put her on the pillow so that her head evens out here. So just rotating her back. So now her head is straight, and then just let her rest for about 15 minutes. And just check in with her. She'll give some kisses to say that she's okay. And that's it. So that's how we exercise Miss Spice. All right.